Everybody. Let's see. Okay. What's up, everybody, man? So, I held this video on for a very long time, mainly because I gave it. I try to give. I reasonably try to give most people the ability to say things that nobody ever talked about or heard about, but people let me down. Mind you, we're not in a manosphere time period anymore. Black manosphere is pretty much crumbled. It's not really something. Uh, it's not really something cool to look at anymore or talk about anymore. The people who are in the manosphere, they came a little too late. They were critical of the manosphere. They don't want to call themselves red pill. They want to be sex crazed. They want to tell you, make innuendos about sex in every fucking screen they have. Um, but I'm gonna be the first one here to tell you one thing, and the reason why the black community is never gonna be prevalent. The reason why most men are gonna start, the reason why men going overseas. Um, the A lot of reasons, right? The American dating market and most dating markets out here are collapsing. Um, Women, and people don't want to hear this no more, but I'm gonna be the first one here on here right now. Women are a currency. Let's go back in the Spain, the French, all the Europeans. They came up with a strategy to make super women, as they said, or make better women or better choices for their men. So they took and funded a agenda to make them look better than the men that were in the current country. So they will make themselves look better. Monkey branches existed even in the 19 whatevers, right? It was all about mass producing prettier women for men, for the benefit of every man. Even men that they didn't like, they wanted to mass produce it. The only place on record that didn't have high mass producing of better looking women was Africa. Africa and places that wasn't colonized by Africa have some of the worst looking women ever. Kenya, all these other places. These countries don't have super pretty women. They don't. Right? So let me break it down. Let me continue my explanation. A lot of European and Spaniards and stuff said that they wanted to see if they could mass produce many beautiful women all across the world based off their DNA. So they would try to get 10 women pregnant. Each of the people in those ships would try to get 10 women pregnant. Leave them alone and come back and pretend like they care about these women or whatever, right? Play games, whatever, right? They raise them. And they look at them and they say, "You're better looking than your mom." They would have one of their crewmates marry that girl at a young age so they could keep mass producing those women with those particular looks. They did it to black people. They did it to Asians. They did it to everybody. Asian people were somewhat experimenting with mixing races, but they got too stubborn. Black people was too stubborn to mix a lot of races. Nowadays, you see drops of DNA within any race out here, right? They're mixed with multiple things. We're not pure. Most of us are not pure. Most of us have lineage from other places that pretty much was raped and whatever, right? It was a position of, hey, if I like a certain race of woman, I will produce, I will support, and I will make sure that this race flourish internationally. That means if we have the better looking women, then other races will over and mass produce and make our race better than everybody else's race. Do you know which race did it? White people. White people made sure that their race of women was valued more than any other race out here through movies, TV shows, everything else. Right? But they also knew that their women was going to either have kids by other races of men that would look 10 times better than they do. So their sons or nephews would date better looking women than the white women that's currently around. A lot of people have, even those super racist people, have concurred that they are dying out. Mixed racing will be a thing later on, earlier now. The mixed race girls look 10 times better than the so-called pure race, one race world. But they can mass produce a culture that will fit white ideology, right? Just like how a mixed black girl that's white and black will act more hood for her black side. Now it will be a fight between which mixed race look better. But you can't do that if you're women, if other races of men don't want to mass produce with your women. So, based off how it goes, you have to have women who other races want to mass produce with, and also race of women who want to fund your culture. Our culture is not funded positively, it's funded negatively by everybody, right? But there's people who tried their best to cover up the mistakes of black women or a black culture, right? The Asian culture who comes into the neighborhoods doing the hair and makeup, trying to make them look better, to hide that. Every culture has been fooled with and played with. Every culture. Latino culture, Asian culture, Indian culture. Every culture has been played with. But to me, the only culture who continue to be dumb enough to be played with for long as there is the black culture. And the women to degrade their looks and send men other places. Every other race, even white women, was in a state of understanding. There were some women who played the game and feminism and all that shit. Then they turn that shit down and turn it off. Now, are they the most feminist women? Yes, they are. But guess what? When you go normal overseas feminist women, they're like the first wave. They're normal feminists. They're not the mutated feminism. Feminism is everywhere, but it's different with mutation. Same thing with black power. It's in other cultures. But guess what? It's not as mutated like it is over here. So, when you have the best looking women, you know that men are going to go in droves to try to be a part of that culture. And then that culture grows and adds more people to it. Don't let anybody fool you and tell you that hip hop culture somehow it all over the world. No, it's replicated and they take parts from it. But a lot of these people don't want certain black aspect cultures of in their culture. You don't even see it. You don't see the women acting looking like the women in America, black women in America. They like the good aspects and they want the good aspects out of black men. Why do you think that all these women overseas and all these other women in other cultures are now saying black men, black men, black men? Because they knew they got told a lie by the black woman, and white women and other racist people that black men were bad, black men were bad. But then they start to understand, how is this one race of guy get hated so much if they have no power, they broke, they this and they that? Why get mad at a group of men going overseas if they the ones you don't want to choose? And then they look in between it like, wow, wait. Some of these guys are fucked up going overseas, but the guys who ain't, they're just like us. They're being used and disposed of like us. I'm going to tell you this now. So many other races of men know that they have high-level, good-looking women in their culture that they treat them like absolute dog shit. They take their lives. They abuse them. They push them to self-deletion. All of the most beautiful girls around the world, it's like they get thrown into dumpsters because they know they mass produce so many good looking women that they don't have to save or pretty much have a, I forgot, I'm looking for the word. They don't have this kind of mindset where they can let women slide with anything. They smack them upside the head. There's been so many beautiful women who've been gunned down, chopped up, stabbed, pushed out of windows, all types of shit. And they know that they can mass produce it. This mentality of every single culture. Because they know that they have the best looking women. Why do you think Asian men don't try to come into the black community and date black women at a high level, even though they have problems with their own women? Because they know every race of men who have problem with their own women, every race of men who have every race of women who have problems with their own, every race of men who have problem with their own women, a lot of them stay with the women because they know their women are worth billions and trillions of dollars. And if they stay in their culture, that it might be a black dude who they could be friends with and let them navigate through their own women. Oh, you didn't think of that. You didn't think that being friends with a black guy would make other Asian, Latinos, or some people who are not good with their own women to get women. It's the same shit that happens with rappers and people with clout. If they see somebody who's good with women, they'll be friends with that guy. And then to that guy, it'll be a whole new experience, right? It's the same thing happens if a man became friends with a white guy. A black dude became friends with a white guy. You don't think his access to white women will be a lot more easier because he's friends with a white dude? It's the same shit. The reason why black men are favored more than black women in this culture, because everybody see who they are. They know they made a mistake giving these women power and ability to talk and do all this shit. But they let them put it out there and they let everybody figure it out. Trump is the only one who's stepping in this arena and taking away all this power and doing all this and knocking down the structure that was built for probably close to 90 years, more than 90 years, or close to probably 60, 70, 80 years, right? The women that you have is your currency. The women or an indicator to who want to come to your culture and date your women and date your culture and be in your culture. And it's indication of how many the women are the culture. The women are the currency of your race. If 100% white people wanted to date black women, you'll see a better overall caring about the whole black community. If Asian men, Arab men wanted to date a high number of women, they will invest in their culture. Just like when black men invest in the white culture. Men invest into cultures that treat them with respect and give them an advantage. Nobody never talk about that. Men only go to cultures and help cultures that help them. So when people call you a sellout, you're supposed to pay off the men. You're supposed to tell them and give them something so they can give back. Remember back in the day when men used to build houses and hunt? Who was it for again? Oh yeah, it was for women. When they was telling men to go build big ass buildings and skyscrapers, who was it for again? Oh yeah, women and children. When men was told to do this and fight for wars, who was it for again? Oh yeah, women and children. Am I wrong? Would any of you guys fight for American women? No. Would anybody fight for black women? No. The small subsection of guys? Yeah, they will. They'll die. But the men who they talk to called Dusty? No. Would white men fight for most white women? Talk about American women. Yeah. Because they know they got the better looking women. In terms of everything, it's all about access, opportunity, sexual opportunity, sexual advantage, and comfortability. And also the ability where your women don't say it. In Japan, isn't it funny that in Asian cultures that there's a lot of sexless men and only a few of them turn out to be creepy, killing women and all that. But then over here we have this overbearing position that if you're a sexless man and you don't have a wife or kid, you're gonna be a mass shooter. Okay, then why isn't 10,000 mass shootings happening every single day? The women are not worth buying into. That's the real thing right there. Most of the women on the market is not worth buying into. Your women have to be worth buying into. Not just looks, but the ability to give the man an advantage. And every man's supposed to have an advantage. That's one of the reasons why a lot of these men in other cultures who not dating their women, they're waiting it out because they know that if they stop functioning even at the smallest microsecond, these women will suffer. Because there's more women than men. Why do you think that there's more women? Why do you think it's more women than men in some of these countries? Because they put too much, they made too much stock and they couldn't get all the inventory out. That's how some of the men, their forefathers in some of these cultures treated their women. And that's how it is in the DNA. You're supposed to get men to marry women so you can create a whole entire environment. Men are supposed to date women, or men are supposed to date women in order to keep certain establishment afloat. Men are supposed to marry women for certain status, for certain establishment to be afloat. When you have a family, what happens into the environment? Supermarkets, daycares, restaurants, events, all of that around a family, they continue to flourish. What happens when you have just single men or single women? You have to pick the kind of stores and places that you want to put around certain groups of individuals. See, men are not considered high level spenders, but women are. Having you get that there's a lot more don't you get that's a lot more Surgery places, dentist places, uh, cosmetic surgery, doctors coming up. Don't you get that? There's a lot of therapists coming out of colleges now. They know where the money at. Clothes stores, naileries, hair stores. You know where it is at. A bunch of women who get more money than men, and they blow through the money in an instant. If these women make 6 figures, they're spending 7 figures at the end of the year and being broke. And God forbid if they make 7 figures, they'll be broke at the end of like 10 years. There's women out here who spend billions of dollars and end up broke. You have to understand that women are a currency. And no, just like women are a currency, no man is useless. I think I read that somewhere where it says no man is useless. Some men are a lesson. Some men will help build your community. Some men are leaders. Some men are builders. And some men are just to be in a position where you want to hold a position above them and stay in that position for competition. No man is useless. Every man has a role in society. But people forgot that over here. In other countries, they know it. Some of the governments are set up in that mentality. No man is useless. Colombia, Thailand, all these places that men go to, Indian men, Asian men, white men, black men, these countries' economy shot up. Their marriage rates, some of them shot up. It means that it's not because they're poor, none of that. It's because they have the right women to sell on the market for men to go in there. Now, sometimes you have to be 100% in the culture. Sometimes some people have 100% investment. But sometimes some people will show their investment by integrating into the culture and not being leeches, right? You know, you got DJ Kuda, who talked shit about passport bros 5 years ago, then turned around and go to Thailand and got stuck in Thailand because he thought that his players talk bullshit was going to work over there and end up being a bum. But he's useful to us. He's a cautionary tale that they was full of shit. See what I say? See what I mean when I say every man is useful? No man is useless. I go by that. No man is useless. There's a use for every guy. It just depends on how you use that person, and you don't overuse them. All right, you let them put themselves in a position. You don't try to put them in that position yourself, right? There's an arm race out here. It's not about military power. It's not about financial power. It's about the currency of women. How many races can add to their numbers? How many? It's all about that. If white women openly said that they wanted to date more other races of men, Indian men to show up, Asian men to show up. I can tell you this right now. If they made an international announcement about, hey, guys, we will pay this amount of money for certain men to marry these races of women in order to boost the economy, to boost families and everything else. Which race you think will be the highest number of race to get married and have kids with and have families with? How many in America? And it would be the no fault divorce would be going, fraternity fall to be there. All the men rights things happen. Who you think gonna be the biggest race for men to go date? And who you think? It's all about that. Black men out here, the black men who get treated like shit are boosting white society up. The black men who get treated like shit is boosting the Asian society up, the Latino society up. Some of these guys are integrated, really. They just don't show them. You have to look extremely hard for certain guys that are married to Asian, Indian, Middle Eastern girls. We have to do our own research for that. And when they see it, they see the integrity of these guys. You know how I know the integrity of some of the guys, the black men, who these guys call them losers and weirdos and all types of names? Oh, you're a loser in America, so you're a loser over there. No. Because then some of the guys have to take care of a woman who got shunned by her own family. You know how many women that I found out about that was with black men who were married to Dominican men? I mean, the black men who was married to Dominican women and their family disowned them. And they had to take all that responsibility on them. And then the family looked and was like, okay, I was wrong. But by that time, it's like, no, I don't want you around my family. Since you don't like me as a man, I don't want you around my new made family. Or you have to make up for the fact is you hurt my girl, even though you're supposed to be her family. Right? I know plenty of Dominicans who shun their own family because they dating black guys. Because some of the Dominican, Spanish people, whatever, they're very violent. It was a story about a guy who shot his ex-girlfriend, and it's on a damn camera. It's another dude who chopped his girlfriend's head off in a car and threw it out the car. Or recently, it was a guy who shot his wife of 3 kids in the neck because she cheated on him instead of him walking away, right? That's where I told you about how a lot of other races of women have the same gripes as black men. They starting to see that we get treated the same by our own race, and we're better together than separate, right? We treated like are disposable. We treated like we're the black sheep. We're treated bad because we don't listen to what we're being told by the so-called queen. But they get killed, unalived, pushed to suicide. Pushed to unaliving, raped, and then tossed in the middle of the street naked. In a disturbing, disgusting way. When black women kill black men, there's no news on it. You don't see it on these panels and none of that stuff. But when a white woman does something to a black man, it's all over the thing. Even though somehow, some way, these women saying they're the best of the best, they're the most beautiful. If you're the most beautiful, then other races of men will want to pick you up immediately. Now you hear it first on my channel. If other races of men don't want your women, then you have a failed group of women. Asian women are not promoted. They're not promoted like that. White women are. But Asian women are not promoted like that in American culture. Because everybody knows that Asian women will dominate the market over white women. Why do you think that none of the best shows from the Latino culture and the Asian culture are over here in America? Only a few. Because the women look 10 times better. Right? That's the reason why these guys don't leave. Haven't y'all seen that the declining rate of birth rates happening? This is before Trump, right? Everybody want to blame stuff on Trump, but it's because that's a lot of mismatch. I don't like to take women's side, but it's the honest truth. Overseas, the women are scared. They're scared to be with a guy. If they make one mistake, they'll die. Let me say it again. They scared to be with a guy. If they make one mistake, they'll die. All right? Black men are more forgiving. Most black men, if they get cheated on, they go get another one. Because guess what? In some of these countries, black men are actually handsome. I mean, there's a couple Middle Eastern girls that I ran into in real life and online who was like, "You're the best looking man that I've seen in like the last 2 years." And I'm saying, "Your men are not that ugly." And she's like, "Yeah, they are. They look the same. They don't try. This. A lot of women, I'm going to tell you this right now, a lot of women have dealt with subpar a lot of women of other races, some cultures, not everyone, have dealt with subpar sex. And they're only with their men for cultural uh approval and cultural sustainability. Right? But as soon as they see a black man, they say, "Oh hell no, I'm picking him. I can teach him. I can teach him our language and our culture and our customs. I want to keep him." A lot of these guys are not satisfying their women, and they're beating them too. They're beating them and then treating them like shit. So it's different than it is in the West. People keep trying to put it out there where it's like, "Oh yeah, man, women overseas." No, it's because the men are treating them like shit. Ask any women overseas about how their men treat them. Don't marry them, use them for sex, and everything else. Right? And the men over here, some of them just want relationships, some of them just want the sex, or they just want the sex with the right woman. And then if the sex is so good with that one woman, they look at her, they see she a good woman, because she's so used to it, but she ain't gonna say nothing. And he gonna be like, "Okay, it's time to make her a kept woman." No, she ain't going nowhere, and that woman's super happy about that, right? Women are currency. You can't tell me anything different. You can't tell me about that. The women we have, the reason why the black community is not promoted, the reason why black men will never be seen as anything, because nobody wants to put money into a culture of ugly, unattractive women. They don't. They take the ones they want and then they have sex with them. And how many men you think would need for black women to actually be more attractive? Hey, I admit that the 50s, the 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s, and even 80s looking women, even in the 90s, look better than the women that we have today. They look 10 times better. It was rumors that there was a lot of men, Middle Eastern, Latino, white men, who was pursuing black women back in the day. And then the women fucked it up by looking a certain way. The women are a currency. So black men are the dudes who are stuck. They can make 1,000 black videos about black women is bad this, black women bad that, but it ain't gonna change a thing if their looks don't change. Because if your looks change, you get prominent men coming to your culture trying to prop up your culture so they can date your women, or they could date one or two. They could date one or two. Nobody want to date somebody who's unattractive. Nobody want to date somebody who's nobody want to date somebody who ugly as shit. Nobody. And the women try to counter this with colorism. No, there's very dark-skinned looking chicks out here that is very beautiful, got certain features and very nice skin. It's just, you're ugly as hell. Olivia Dunham, one of the most over-pushed gymnasts, white girls of all time. One of them. She was pushed to the max for every other race of men to buy into, and propped her up to have money. So let me give you the reverse. Remember a couple years ago where Austin Holloman had a woman that made a hit piece on him. Now, this is your girl Stephanie Regarlo, who was married to him, but she was on the market to date an American man. She saw that her market value was a lot higher than an American woman. So she shot her shot to a guy overseas. She knew that she can beat out these hags who used her to go against passport bros. So the American black woman got played and got one of their top guys taken by a Brazilian girl. Now, mind you, this guy, he's a Grammy winner, but he's not really known. But his father is legendary. She grabbed him, took him off the market from the girls, and got her payment, and didn't accomplish shit. They used this chick to go against passport bros, and she reversed it on these idiots. Grabbed an American man, something that these women don't like doing, and then something that they don't like, and then got played. But hey, nobody wanted to talk about the Stephanie Regarlo, who played the shit out of the anti-passport patrol. She grabbed them and took them out the equation. You see what I'm talking about? Now it's a competition now. It's always been a competition. That's why I said some currency. Now, let me ask you a question, guys. Let me ask you a question. What you think how much money you think some of these women are worth? Sexual value, relationship value, all of these values, everybody turns into money at the end of the day. Everybody, you, me, everybody else. We have funded multiple companies, multiple restaurants, the way we shop, what we put into, we funded a lot of things, right? But if somebody else had the money, who you think would get picked up the most? Which race? How many women in other countries are worth $1 million? How many other countries are worth trillions of dollars? And how many people are worth billions of dollars? Now, here's a good picture right here. Representation. A representation of the money. 10,000, a million, 100 million, a billion, and a trillion. There's a lot of women that are on an open market who get paid a lot of money, millions. I told y'all before, the OnlyFans scale is fake. It's a bunch of rich guys overinflating these women's egos, putting money in these women's pockets in order to make more women fooled to believe that they are be the next girl, the top girl on OnlyFans. It's a Ponzi scheme overall. Just like how the Manosphere was at the same time too. It's kind of like the opposite side of like the dating coaches and shit like that, where a lot of these dudes will say, "Oh yeah, man, you can be the fit guy," but there's like, after you self-improve, that's like 20 guys in the room like you, and you still got to do the same shit that you did before when you didn't have the self-improvement. That shit don't work. It only works when you in a room when you have an advantage. It don't work when you're at the disadvantage, right? So let's see. Let's go. How much? How much you think she's worth? How much you think she's worth? All these girls are worth to a race, to come to the race. How much would you think that these women would do? Can these women that I'm showing you make men go and build a whole entire city? That's the currency. How many of these women can make a whole men build an entire country, entire cities? How can these women give you the highest morale? Can they pick your men socially morale up? Because women are supposed to do that as well. They're supposed to help build morale to keep men producing for society. If your women don't give you high morale, then they don't produce for society. They produce for themselves, and then they move whatever they produce to another group of women. These women that I'm showing you all can make and build countries based off their value. And let me tell you a secret. Hey guys, there's like 20 of them that look just like this in their culture. So you won't have to sit here and fight over the same one woman. There's 20 looking girls like her. Might not look better. There's a couple women who look like her. Millions of chicks who look like this. That was the whole point. That was the whole point of the old Spaniards, Europeans, to mass produce these type of women so they can have the ability to get men to help build the cultures. Black women can't do that. They can't bring in all these men from other cultures to help build shit and then make the culture more sustainable. But these women can. Men from all over the world are now traveling. All over the world. Some of them are on sexual conquests. Some of the older gentlemen. Some of the Indian guys. Some of the Asian dudes who are weirdos in the bedroom. A lot of guys are traveling now. Because the women, they need to be resetted. A lot of shit need to be reset. But guess what? When certain men leave, you have less men who are going to do for your culture and they're going to do for themselves. It's unnatural for men to not want to date women or even mass produce or look or whatever, right? When a look don't touch society. You want to look, but you don't want to touch them. Because what comes with them is a lot of problems and you might land up in jail. I want somebody else. And if you hear anybody else use my terminology about how women are a currency, then you know where it comes from. Because I created that shit now. I created that. I'm the one who put it out there. You ain't hear none of this nowhere else. None of these manospheres, your boy Mr. Fantastic, any of these guys. A lot of the guys, black guys, are stuck with these black women because they're trying to put their value up. Isn't it funny that these guys will try to push you towards women that you don't like to try to up the value of these women because they know if these women can get you to heal, that means they got power. But it doesn't work because we ain't buying into it. Remember your boy Super Sly decided to talk about guys should go to these type of women because somehow, some way he thinks he know guys in the manosphere's taste in women. No, you're supposed to listen to the men and see exactly what they want and then give it to them. Give them the options to get it. Jobs. And give them the options to get it. Set up dating sites. Haven't you noticed that it's a lot of women complaining online about how men they are nowhere to be found, or how these dating single events are going. You're not worth it no more. The women in the country, they're not worth it no more. Nobody's trying to fill the thing, fill the market. Remember, I'm gonna say it again: women are a currency, an exchange of currency. Every single restaurant and any kind of place is funded by men. You barely have. Most places are not funded by women. They're not. They're not. If they was, then these places would be open. The weddings, the concerts, all this other stuff. Only a few things are funded by them, but most of it is funded by men on the opportunity of getting sex from women. And when you make it hard for men to get sex, and you put these standards, high standards on men, then most men are gonna opt the fuck out. There's no way in hell that you're gonna mass produce 200,000 strong, successful, six-pack abs, no funny guys, the same fucking jokes 25 fucking times. You're not gonna mass produce that shit. You're living in a dreamland if you're gonna think you're gonna have 5 million men who have charisma, or walking around here being so athletic, having 6% body fat. That's a false equivalent. That's false. There's more beautiful women than it will be more beautiful women around the world than it would be more fit guys. You don't even have enough gym, because the forefathers, decade-old forefathers, created a world where there will always be beautiful women. And men wasn't supposed to be the handsome guys. It was only supposed to be a few guys. That's why in books, movies, TV shows, you only have one one handsome guy out of 50. But now women are fake mass producing these guys because other women are followers. They hive mind, right? But hey, man, I want you to understand this now. You shouldn't go back and forth with anybody like that. Well, you can go for fun. But you should always ask them, do you think other races of men want black women in the high numbers? And they're trying to turn it on you on black men. Oh, no. We understand we at the bottom of the totem pole, but it's not about us. It's about you. If y'all so great, put yourself out there on open market. Make us extinct. That's all you have to do to these people. White men.
Battery level is 60%.
White men, Asian men, Latino, Middle Eastern men, they understand what kind of women they got. That's why they protect them. They protect them, and the surface level, they protect them. In reality, they don't. They take them out faster than they can. They beat them, stab them, do all types of stuff. They're more abuse. I'll tell you the reason why a whole bunch of other races of women like black men too. Because we both are the most abused people. Black men are the most abused socially, financially. And some of these other races of women are the most abused financially and socially and physically. Oh yeah, and black men are abused physically as well. So we get together so we don't have to deal with our abusive counterparts. Haven't y'all noticed that? That a lot of Asian women feel more home with black men because their men are so harsh with them when it comes down to their look. White men too. Have you saw how harsh white men are to white women? They be taking women apart pixel by pixel, piece by piece. Don't they sound just like the black women? But they understand that they're sitting on a gold mine. That it's better for you to convert to the white side than them trying to convert to the black side to do what black women want them to say. Why do you think the dude, Kelsey, whatever the name is, the guy, Taylor Swift's husband or boyfriend or whatever, when he was with her, his value was low. But when he went with Taylor Swift, his value went up. She's a billionaire. She's highly successful. No matter what anybody said, it's a step up for him. So now, a lot of these cultures understand they want the best of the best, or they just want somebody there to mitigate the situation that they created. All right. A lot of these women's hope is a break from their culture, just like the hope for us, the break in the culture. Because look, SYSBM is promoting getting the hell away from the worst culture ever. But one thing that SYSBM never told you, that I'm telling you, that it improves your mental, your physical, and it takes down the stress, and you can look at somebody and you can see the work that you put in. That's what dating is all about too, is the work that you put in for yourself and the partner that you're picking. You're not supposed to be stressed when you're in a relation. You're not supposed to be more stressed when you're in a relationship than you're not in a relationship. You can have fights, that's normal. But at the same time, most men don't want to deal with chaotic people anymore. Shout out to Mad Bus Driver, all of the SYSBM guys. This is it. This is what people should be talking about. Evolving certain conversations. I'm tired of certain conversations that keep happening. Now you put the spot on them. It's not about the guy. It's about the chick. It's about why men don't want to invest into these girls. Because trust me, you think that I won't invest into somebody? You crazy? If some German girl or some European chick or some other chick who has money be like, hey, I want a black man. I'm auditioning for a black man. Or they find me and they want to talk to me and be like, hey, let's talk. And she fits me like a glove. You think that I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, we good. Hey man, guys, I'm married, man. Most guys are simple to deal with. Let them keep this chaos shit. Because everything's going down. And the reason why this whole society is going down, because you can't convince men to go out here and date these fucking wags no more. You can't. There's no value in it for this guy. Everybody's supposed to have a distribute amount of advantage. The men are supposed to have multiple choices, and a woman can have multiple choices, but it's not supposed to be one or the other. When you have a guy who has no choices at all dating a woman who has every choice, it'll never work. It'll never work. It has to be distributed balance. That's why a lot of guys going overseas. Women are a currency. Women create environments that increase the currency for themselves and increase the currency for their culture. Do you know how happy some of these cultures are to get the right black men in their culture? And they like, why the fuck did they talk about this guy? He's working hard. He's building this culture. He's doing this and this and that. You don't know how many guys creatively worked in some of these places, in these cultures, and they're uncredited. They have influence in some of these cultures. They just don't want to be credited. And people don't notice that. But hey, man. I hope nobody used my premise about women are a currency.